Hello, design enthusiasts, and welcome to a conversation about design, the official podcast of Experience House. I'm Amit Patel, the creative director here, and I'm thrilled today to have a remarkable guest who is undertaking a truly incredible mission. Cien Solon is a distinguished leader in AI, dedicated to bridging the AI literacy gap and democratizing access to advanced technologies. With over 9 years in the tech industry, she has collaborated with various innovative companies and is now the co founder and CEO of Launch Lemonade, a no code platform that empowers non technical users to create and monetize AI tools. She is also the director of Scale That Thing, focusing on AI enablement for businesses. Shen is truly committed to making AI accessible to all. Her role as a Techstars accelerator mentor further underscores her dedication to fostering technological advancement and education. Hi, Shen. Great to have you here with us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's so exciting as well with what you're doing with influencing how experiences are being designed. I think it's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah. And like I've just been so impressed with what you're building at Launch Lemonade. So lots of questions to ask you about how you arrived here and your plans as well. So just want to understand a little bit. Do you want to give us like maybe a 30-second or 1 minute explanation, a little bit more about your journey and what's landed to here with you starting Launch Lemonade?
For sure. So when I was in my teens and people ask me like, what do you want to do? What do you want? How do you want to, live the rest of your life? I was one of those people who had no idea. And I was like, I don't want to be constrained to a profession or like doing the same thing for the rest of my life. I think that
Mm.
is going to be horrible. And so I decided to spend the first, as soon as I graduated, I took a master's degree. But as soon as I finished school, I was like, I'm going to spend a decade just experiencing the world, traveling and
Mm.
learning about people and culture. And so I did that. And then once I kind of like had enough of that, experiencing, having fun, and understanding how the world works, I was like, all right, let's do something more meaningful. Let's build a career. And this was around maybe when I was 28, when I was like, all right, I'm going to definitely want to do something in tech, do something
Mhm.
digital. Digital was the trend then.
Mhm.
And I started volunteering for Oxfam. And then I started getting roles in digital transformation, led a couple of teams, started owning products. And then that's when I moved into product delivery. And in 2016, 2017, 2018, no one was an AI expert in any
Mhm.
company. You were either a product delivery or a software developer, and if anything involves tech, even if it's a social media account or mobile app or a model, you take on a project that you were interested in or you want to bid for. So I bid for all of the big data, machine learning,
Mhm.
all the cool stuff that was quite nascent. So I took on those projects and I started understanding how to work with data engineers, data scientists, build credit models, affordability models, because I worked for a financial institution and moved into fintech. And I started understanding how data can actually get businesses to profitability, customizing designs that users would actually
Mhm.
love. And that's how I got into AI, machine learning. And when the language models came out, it became very accessible, cheap to build on top of. I was like, everyone should get this, not just
Mhm.
well-funded startups or established businesses. Everyone can maximize its potential. And
Amazing. Yeah.
and we're here now.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. So, would you say there were any like pivotal moments or people that kind of, as your journey along there, like, was there anybody that kind of said, "Hey, you've got to get into this, or you've got to check this out, or go and kind of try this platform"? Were there any moments or people that kind of influenced you along the way?
Absolutely. It's all down to having been influenced. And I believe that people don't really understand what's out there unless they're exposed to it. So it was all down to kind of seeing what other people were doing and exploring a curiosity. So if I was curious about something someone else was doing, I'm like, all right, let me explore that. Let me give that a try. And going back to, what I was, my philosophy in life of trying different things, I've always made sure to try the things that I'm curious about. And there were so many pivotal moments and people actually.
Mhm.
that helped me and influenced my journey. Too many to mention, including my dad. So my dad, he came from a poor family. He ran away when he was little. He had to work to send himself to school, and now he's a businessman. And
Mhm.
he's always taught me to just go for it. So I think
Mhm.
if there is an influential person that allowed me to believe in myself and take risks, I mean, that would be him, and my mom as well, for sure.
Yeah. Nice, nice. And so, I mean, that's a really kind of nice background story. What I'd love to kind of explore now is, your mission and giving and making sure that everyone has access to this technology. What along the way made you think that that's going to be your mission?
Interesting question. So I I'm part of Angel Investing School, and Andy, who's the founder, is my mentor. And his mission was to transform who gets and who gives investments. And during my kind of like the couple of years that I've been in Angel Investing School, I've been exposed to not just investors with the capital, but also the founders who needed
Hmm.
capital. And when I started mentoring startups as well, there were some things that I just I was exposed to how limited people's resources are, and not just because they don't have the money, but they're not exposed to the right things, or they don't understand how to build. And because of these experiences of being exposed to all of these founders and startups, I saw an opportunity where they could quickly iterate or validate an idea without having to raise a lot of money or having to be technical. And I wanted to provide a platform for them. Um, from my perspective, it was easy, but they had that barrier of it's too complex, it's expensive, it's too sophisticated for me. So I wanted to remove all of that and allowed these startups with amazing ideas, solutions that could, improve how the world works.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's how I got, I guess, thinking about it now, got
Yeah.
me to that whole mission of democratizing access to sophisticated tech.
Amazing. Okay, so now I think there's a nice little kind of ladder that we're building here. So we've got the background story, we've got your kind of your journey into kind of exploring AI, we've got your journey into kind of setting this mission or purpose for what you're trying to do with it. Now where does Launch Lemonade kind of fit into all of this? So now you've got this mission. What prompted you to start thinking about Launch Lemonade? Tell us a little bit about how that came together.
So as I was telling you earlier, I was part of teams that really delivered sophisticated models, sophisticated tech, managed a team of 30 engineers at one point, and we built some cool stuff, experimented on
Hmm.
a lot of things. But then when ChatGPT came out, and then Hugging Face also opened its doors to open source language models, I started building a backlog. So I opened up a Trello board, and every time I had an idea, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to build this. And then there was also a book that really, a couple of books actually. There was a misalignment problem and the coming wave that were all about AI, how it works, and also the potential problems that these systems could, potential problems that could come about. And that just really spurred me. Like, it really made me want to build a lot of things. So as I was building my Trello board, I started inviting my software developer friends to do hackathons, mini hackathons during the
Hmm.
weekends. And I did this almost every weekend 2 years ago. I was like, let's build something, let's build something. But then I met my co-founder, who also had a backlog and who also he's built tools and sold four of them. So he exited from
Hmm.
four wrappers that he built when ChatGPT came out. It was ChatGPT
Wow.
2. I was like, oh my God, we could do something special. And so we locked ourselves in a WeWork room, did a hackathon, and that was the beginning of Launch Lemonade.
Wow. Okay. So, how long would you roughly say, kind of from your kind of coming up with this, starting to dump the ideas into Trello to actually creating something that was ready to go out for pilot testing or the MVP? How long would you say that took you?
So about a year to get to something that we were building. But the minute that I met my co-founder, it took us 3 weeks to launch an MVP.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so it was a
And yeah,
3-week build.
okay, cool. And so for those, obviously I've played with it. I'm amazed with it. I've got quite a few, as we were just chatting about, use cases that I want to explore next year. If I was to kind of ask you to give like a 1 or 2 minute kind of pitch on what Launch Lemonade is, how would you explain it?
So the world right now is confused, feeling overwhelmed with the amount of AI tools and uh, possibilities that are being sold to them. Productivity increase or opportunities to build products. But specifically for non-technical professionals, entrepreneurs, businesses,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know which tools to exactly use that would allow them to either open up a new revenue stream or actually help them increase their productivity. So Launch Lemonade wants to make it simple and easy for businesses to custom build their AI products or their tools or their agents to allow them to achieve their goals. It is the Canva for AI, so or the WordPress for AI agents. Did you know that 50% of the world's websites are on WordPress?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we want to do the same for AI agents. Everyone could have AI agents that are custom built for them to monetize with and to help them scale. And that's what Launch
Amazing.
Lemonade wants to do.
So if you were to give us an example of a small business owner, let's just say somebody who I mean, we're starting to see kind of lots of people who are looking taking advantage of kind of the way that we could do digital marketing, for example. How could Launch Lemonade help somebody who's starting a digital marketing agency from scratch, for example?
Marketing agencies are actually one of our ideal customer profiles.
Perfect.
They have been our early adapters, and the retention from that profile is actually really good. So imagine you're a marketing agency, and currently you are servicing 5 clients a month, and you couldn't really afford to hire another team out to scale how many clients you're servicing. Now imagine if you could clone some of those services like content creation or strategy, growth strategies, and allow more users to get your subject matter expertise without you having to talk to them or work
Mm-hmm.
with them day in, day out. And this could be your low ticket sale. Like I've got my AI tools, you can use it. And then your high ticket sale could be you can work with, like if you want something more or deeper, work with us. So now I'm allowing a marketing agency to scale and have more customers by digitalizing themselves and their offerings and getting allowing them for their services to be more accessible.
And is that where the monetization starts to come in? So they could basically create an agent and then monetize it and make it available to an audience, for example.
That's one way. There are
Yeah.
marketing agencies that are white labeling multiple AI tools, creating custom tools for clients, and we've got marketing agencies that are building one standalone white labeled set of tools and allowing all their clients to have it. So there are many ways.
Yeah. See, I think that example that you just mentioned there, I think for us at Experience House, I think that's quite exciting because I'd love to kind of create a set of lemonades that could help, again, student entrepreneurs going through a program. So that's something that definitely in January I'll be kind of picking your brains on because immediately I saw a great use case for that. And I think it's just the reality of entrepreneurs having access to these tools is, yeah, giving them access to these tools and helping them speed up a lot of their kind of their groundwork to allow
Yeah,
them to kind of really focus on what's really important to them as they start to kind of build their venture as well. So
absolutely.
I'm definitely a big believer of what you're building as well.
Great.
Um, so tell me, have you, just going back to less about the launch lemonade itself, but about the journey that you've been on? What challenges have you faced, and how long now has it been out in the public realm? And then if you can tell us that quickly, and then what challenges you faced along the way.
A year in January.
Hmm.
And I am a product led growth evangelist. I have been taught to validate an idea before rolling it out. I'm also I was in charge of growth teams and product teams. It's always been about validating something, proving assumptions. with Launch Lemonade, it was difficult to follow a lot of these like traditional strategies, because when we thought of the idea, we wanted to service the ICP, the ideal customer profile, that didn't understand what AI was. They
Hmm.
thought that AI was just a chatbot. And so that was the biggest challenge, is how can we prove an idea to an audience that might not just buy it or won't ever get it. And that is actually what led us to not fundraising,
Mm.
being cost effective with idea, because we were like, let's, if this is a bad idea, let's kill it right away. We had reached milestones that allowed us to keep pushing. We got a momentum. However, because there's only two of us and we've got some fractionals and loads of AI agents to help us, that allowed us to actually iterate faster. However, we're still experiencing loads of traffic, but at the same time, we're unable to keep up with the queries, customer support requests,
Mm.
meetings, and demo requests. And the biggest challenge right now is, how do we keep everyone happy? Or how do we make sure that Launch Lemonade also scales profitably in the next year, so we can keep innovating for our users? And that is the biggest challenge actually
Yeah.
today.
And do you have any plans to address some of this next year? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've started talking to some funds, and we're considering fundraising. We're going to potentially start in the new year, close around by the summer, to allow us to achieve our vision of a marketplace, AI agent factory for the non-techs.
Nice.
So that's definitely in the works. And we're also going to double down on um, increasing the value of Launch Lemonade to allow our users to build better AI agents.
Awesome. Yeah, again, just been fascinated by what you're building, and very much looking forward to kind of where this continues next year for you as well. I just want to step back into kind of, just to kind of get your sense of like the industry and where you see AI literacy at the moment. Because I think that's going to be very important for people to understand. I certainly am starting to see, I think you touched upon exactly the same kind of pillars that I kind of have resonated with me a lot this year in terms of curiosity and experimentation. I think that's going to be even more key going into next year. What are you sensing in terms of people, their understanding of AI, any fears that they have, and what do you see, how do you see that kind of moving into 2025?
Yeah, millions of people have already lost their jobs, or they're kind of like displaced. Their jobs
Hmm.
morphed how they work as well, and that is the biggest risk. Is if people don't scale up or get better understanding of the technology, they're at risk of job displacement. They won't be able to future proof their careers or livelihoods. And similarly to the financial literacy gap, for example, especially with women, you've got men are likely to invest over women, and that has definitely caused an economic disparity as well. AI is going to be the same. If
Mm.
the world would depend on people who knew how to use AI, knew how to innovate with AI, then they will be more economically well off compared to those
Mm.
who aren't. And that's going to be the biggest risk, is from an economic perspective, because people need to eat. But then you've
Yeah.
got the existential risk as well. Is since the industrial revolution, we've defined how successful we are based on our IQ, and how much capital or income we were generating for ourselves and our families.
Hmm.
Now, if robots and AI will be able to produce faster than us, be smarter than us, would it mean for us to be human? So there's going to be an existential threat as well, on top of the economic threat. And I think
Right.
those are going to be the biggest risk, but the biggest risk
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
humankind, really.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing because it's crazy to think that
Yeah.
those things are going to be happening, but it already is, and it will exponentially um, happen.
Yeah. I find this so, yeah, like the zooming out of what's happening, and this gap that I definitely, and like kind of this gap that's happening, but also there's kind of further risks down the line. I think next year I just see more and more of that kind of just opening up, and I think what you're trying to do in terms of making sure that people get access to the right tools and are aware of the possibilities, I think is great. Um, is there an element of community attached to Launch Lemonade as well? And could you explain what you're doing there as well?
Absolutely. So I don't think that tooling or allowing people to consume and subscribe to your product is enough in
Mm,
terms of getting people on board with all things AI, educating them with AI. So I conduct weekly master classes with our customers for free. And we have a WhatsApp community as well where we share what we're building, asking each other questions about how to build things properly or what language model would fit for their use case. So I believe in not only providing the platform, but also allowing users to grow with our understanding of how the world of AI works so that they can become AI agent experts as well.
hmm And earlier on in the intro, it touched upon that you're working with Techstars. You're doing a lot of kind of mentorship as well. You mentioned you have a coach that's kind of giving you some really important kind of guidance along the way. So, in terms of you standing here today or sitting here today, as building something that's giving access to AI, but also building something. You're an entrepreneur and you're building something. What advice do you have for somebody that's kind of looking to enter the space? A woman founder, women in tech is a big thing. Obviously, what advice would you have for anybody who's kind of looking to 2025 saying, I want to build something? Maybe they're unsure, maybe they don't know if it's the right thing for them. Yeah, I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on and yeah, your advice for anyone exploring this at the moment.
Yeah. My advice, it has always been the same, which is, explore curiosity and just do it. But I think I need to add a layer to that, especially for women, because women don't have the capacity, the mental capacity to try things out and be patient with things that aren't perfect. But now is the time to extend that patience.
Right.
We can't let how we feel about, like, and it's difficult. And I'm going to say specifically for women because, we do everything like picking the school kids up,
Mm,
or cooking. And these things are still happening, crazily
yeah.
enough. And I'm sure there's been a shift in from a equity and equality perspective. But a lot of us just don't have the time to experiment or to learn about things if it's not working. But my advice is, and not just for women, but for people who feel like, oh, this is not working, it's not for me, is it's evolving fast.
Mm,
And there will be a time where like, oh, I don't know how this works. It's amazing. It's replaced my job.
mm,
So the time is now to start experimenting and not just using it, but building. You have an
mm,
idea, like for example, if your kid wants to learn the ABCs, maybe explore building an app that would be better
mm.
than books, and I
Yeah.
don't know, kids could
Yeah.
try it out.
Yeah.
Start building. It's so cheap to do it. So if you have
Yeah.
a little bit of maybe 30 minutes every week, just do it.
Mhm. And in terms of, you mentioned you're running master classes and things like that. Do you have a community that's specifically attached to Launch Lemonade that you're building?
No, everyone's free to join. My
Yeah.
events are on Luma. You can just
Okay.
find me. I talk about it in my TikTok, on my LinkedIn.
Okay. Nice.
I'm trying to build an ecosystem for our users so that they can mature as well. Like we can't just um, put the onus on the people to learn how to use it. So I think it's important to also teach or expose them to the possibilities. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. And now just going back to kind of Launch Lemonade itself, in terms of trends and kind of that you're kind of seeing, I mean, there's so much moving. I just see Sora has just been made publicly available. I haven't had a chance to play around with that yet. But what do you see emerging in 2025? Any key trends, any new models that you think are about to emerge, and how do you kind of see that fitting into Launch Lemonade?
So my fear is because building and fine tuning on top of these open source language models is very accessible, that gonna want to fine tune their own models, but they're gonna be wasting their time and their resources because as soon as a model gets updated, all of these fine tuned models get deprecated.
Mm.
So unless you're building something really complex that would remit you having to fine tune your model, fine, but don't do it if it's just going to be a simple tool like a marketing tool or a I don't know, an admin tool, operational tool. Try to use aggregators or APIs even, and experiment with that so that you can then easily update the language model as soon as, you know, don't put it on yourself to improve the models as it gets updated. Let the other people do the hard work for you. They have the resources and they've built their businesses based on improving the models.
Yeah.
So that is going to be one trend that I'm looking out for. And then also second is build the tools yourselves. There's so many solutions out there and you're going to drown in subscriptions.
Right.
So use the API or use aggregators like ours, and build the solutions yourself instead of subscribing to all of these, and that you're not even sure if it's going to be fit for your brand. It's going to be fit for your use case as well. So yeah, I think
Nice.
there'll be more people building and less people fine tuning.
And where do you see Launch Lemonade in, so say 3 or 5 years? What would be like, we've done we've accomplished what we expected to accomplish at this time? What would you say 3 to 5 years from now Launch Lemonade is doing?
What the same that Canva has achieved for design, the same that WordPress has achieved for website building. That's where we'll be. We'll
Yeah.
allow people to innovate, have businesses, and operate in the world of AI agents.
So it's like you've just enabled global reach and global scale. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Where can people go to find out more about what you're working on and what you're doing? Just if there's any links or websites that they should kind of check out.
Yeah, if you're curious about it, you can check out the website launchlemonade.app. On the website, we have links to our events, our free master classes that happens every Wednesdays, but we have featured guests as well that talk about, like, you know, specific expertise around sales or coaching. And then we also have a TikTok account, and as well as a we've got loads of blogs. Like, all the resources are available on the website, but you can find me on LinkedIn too. It's Cien Solon. And yeah, just start following people like me. And I'm not the only one. There's so many people that you can definitely follow to start exploring what the possibilities are.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been so great having you. And I think another thing is definitely check out some of the YouTube videos. I mean, I found that personally so useful. I was kind of thinking about how do I go about navigating this as soon as I watched one or two of those videos, which are super clear. And there's templates that you can start with to build these lemonades as well. I found that so useful. And it's kind of immediately started making me think about what I want to build using it as well. So
For sure.
very much looking forward to working with you next year.
I'm
And kind of
excited.
just
I'm so
following
excited.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you
And
so
yeah,
much for
thank you.
having me.
No problem. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, I think this will be a great episode for not only for people that are looking to explore and understand more about AI, but also just I think you've given them the right tool to kind of go away and use to explore this as well. So thank you so much, and enjoy your holidays, and see you in 2025.
Merry Christmas, and I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to our collaboration.
perfect. All right. Thanks so much.